بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate your time to be with this short presentation. I hope it will be interesting. Before I start, please, if this voice is really clear for you, just anybody of you, please let me know so we can proceed, because we have the support from our technical intelligence, Mr. Tariq. So if you hear me clearly, just say yes. Excellent. Okay. Thank you very much. We will start now. Before I start, I'd really like to thank the Saudi Patient Safety Center for giving me this opportunity to have the honor to be with you today. It will be 2 hours. Maybe, inshallah, we will give enough time for the question and answers. We will make like a break in every session just to give the opportunity that we can talk together. So our topic today is about the leadership role improving patient safety. This has to be actually part of our belief. It's not only the skills that we need to learn to learn about it. And I will take you through very simple steps. The steps that we are doing, maybe many of us already, they are doing this on a daily basis, but what we can do, maybe we need really to sharpen our skills, to know who are our leaders, to know what the leadership skills that we need really to improve it in order to go in alignment with the patient safety concept. So it's not a job description by title, it's not by the position, it's something that we need really to inherit it, to make it part of our daily work and part of mindset. Patient safety concept, it's part of mindset, especially for us when we are working with our patients. As I mentioned before, please, if you have any technical problem, please put it in on the screen so we can just improve it. Okay, أنا شايفة إنه they said no voice. Okay, we'll try to fix it now. It's working? Okay. Now our presentation today, it will be on a 6 part. We will start with the first 3 parts as an introduction, just to be all on the same page of the definitions. Then we go to the core business of this one, which is number 4, the leadership guide to patient safety. Then we will have it as a discussion for the end of this one. So we will start with some definitions, just to know exactly all the definition. We have something similar in understanding. Who are the leaders and what's their role? The healthcare system and leadership. And then we will go to the leadership guide to the patient safety. Then how we develop our leadership skills and patient safety skills. Then what is next? When we have the break, we will have time for the discussion. Now, before we start, please think about this one, because I will open I will open the time to have a discussion regarding what was the recent serious event happened in your hospital, with your family, with you yourself, and what exactly, share with us later on what was the plan. And the thing that is very important, was this a surprise to you in your hospital? Was this something that you never think about it before? This is what we have really to think about it. So the patient safety and all the critical things could happen. It will happen and it will continue to happen. We are working in a hospital that actually run by human beings, so this could happen at any time. So this is what we can really, later on, inshallah, we share it together. So we start with the definition. For the definition, I know all of you, we know about it, but please just have 1 minute to see this video. It's only 1 minute, 0.09 seconds.
Meet Dan and Maria. Dan needs to go to the hospital for a scheduled surgery. Dan and Maria aren't concerned because hospitals are safe places, right? Unfortunately, not always. Hospitals are busy, complex places where many very talented and dedicated people do remarkable work and save lives every day. In hospitals with strong leadership and teams that work together, patient safety is a top priority. Strong teams reduce infection rates, put checks in place to prevent mistakes, and create strong lines of communication between hospital staff and patients and families. All people make mistakes, but when there's a good team in place, they can look out for each other. But some hospitals don't have teams that work well together or good leadership. When one person makes a mistake, there isn't a good team ready to catch that mistake, and the patient suffers. Communication breaks down and patients get harmed. Patients experience dangerous complications, recovery is slower, and some patients even die unnecessarily.
Okay, we finished this one. Can I ask, please, tell me what are the key words that you heard in this video? Just tell me, please, any 3-4 keywords that you can just take it from this video. Excellent. Team, Corina. Okay, just for the time, for the sake of time, excellent. That is the safety. Wonderful, good communication. Communication. So the key word is the communication, team and safety and communication. Excellent. So we agreed that the communication is the key word, the teamwork is the key word, that one of the most important things that we still working in a very complex system. And we will still have error since we have a human being and we still have mistakes. And this is what we really need to work on it and to at least acknowledge what we have from challenges in order to work on it. So let's go for the definition, or actually the basic principle that we all healthcare worker, we are working for one purpose, to do no harm. Exactly, this is what we are working. Okay, I hope it fixed the voice now. So to do no harm, this is rule number 1. No one of us coming to the hospital to do actually or to harm any patient. Definitely, this is never been one of our purposes. If we go to the definition of the quality, this is, by the way, it's copy and paste from the books. So, but what we need really to go for it, it's the degree to which the probability of achieving the expected health outcomes are increased in line with updated professional knowledge and skill within the health services. So it's very clear that we are talking about now the outcomes. Sometimes we focus on the process, we focus on the structure, but it's nothing that can reach the outcome that expected from the patient perspective. So now we will go to one of the slides that I will ask you about what exactly we are aiming for. Sometimes we can consider that only the definitions, consider that we have a good structure, a wonderful process, but at the end, we don't aim to have the safe patient. When we talk about the clinical outcomes, I think we have a lot of references and resources that can tell us what exactly the outcome, and it should be measured when we talk about it, and the satisfaction. So one of it is like the patient length of stay, hospital mortality level. Definitely this is the ABC. So when we are talking, we have really to measure the outcome. Please, this is what we have to put, and you as a leaders now, and I'm sure that most of you, I really have the honor to be with you today, that the outcome is something measured, that we can really know where are we and where we aim to go. Then the patient safety is defined exactly, it's the reduction and mitigation of unsafe acts within the healthcare system, as well as through the use of the best practice shown to lead optimal patient outcomes. If we see the key word here is reduction and mitigation of unsafe acts. And again, not only this one, reduction, it's really how to have the approach to prevent the error from happening. So this is, again, it's a mindset from the beginning, how we can design the process to prevent the error so we can reduce the harm that can reach the patient, la qaddar Allah. Then when we talk about the error, define the error could be an error of planning or error of execution, whether you use the wrong plan or inappropriate use of the plan, or to actually failure to follow the plan of action as intended. Now for the adverse event, this is the one that in unintended injury that would reach the patient with the complication not part of the medical care program or plan. It could be unpreventable and most probably is preventable. There are many references, and I can advise all of my, not actually advise, I mean, most of you, they are using the IHI as one of references. You can see how much really the level of the preventable error and how much that we are really losing our patient from a preventable error. And this is what will hurt us as a healthcare worker, that I think not only we will feel shame for this one, but we really need to work on this one to improve it, because there are many things that needs to be improved. If we talk about where are we now, this is very, very clear for all of us that when the IOM report since 1999, the error is human. I don't want to repeat this because everybody, I know that you know it, that we have like 44,000 to 98 hospital deaths due to the medical error, and still the medical error cause of death is still the third rank after the cancer and the RTA. Do you think after when the IOM report in 2009, is it improved? The improved is the reporting, which increased the reporting. But are we really stop the error for the human or for the patient? Did we really decrease it? Still, I can share with you, this is in 2017 from the Canadian Patient Safety Institute. They found that preventable harm occurs every 1 minute and 18 seconds in the hospital and home healthcare setting in Canada. So we're talking about that every 1 minute, 18 seconds, we have harm occurs to the patient. Okay, again, in the patient actually safety incident, it happens actually, we have patient dies from the patient safety incident every 13 minutes and 14 seconds. And this is nearly 28,000 people per year. We are losing our patients. So again, this data, unfortunately, it's only from Canada. Maybe we don't have now the data, and we starting, and I want really to support and to ask you really to support برنامج صوتك أو صوتك program from the Saudi Patient Safety Center in order that can, after a time, inshallah, we can have a data that we can talk about it in Saudi Arabia from different, actually, from MOH, from National Guard. We have to build our national data from the mortality to learn from this as a learning lessons. Now, I want really to make this announcement because on 17th of September, inshallah, we will have the first annual World Patient Safety. You can communicate with the Saudi Patient Safety Center to know maybe the activities you can share and participate. I don't know about the details about this one, but this is actually one of the international, this is the first World International Patient Safety Day. Now, if we talk about the leadership, now we have to know who are the leaders and what's their role in the healthcare system. It's not the definition of who are the leaders. Now, we have to think about what is the traditional leaders and what is the new that we have to go for it. We all know that traditional leader. We know exactly, for example, even if those leaders, they already started to change, the change now is enforced. It's not optional at any way, it's not optional. So this is, I will share with you, this is a survey happened in 2010 by a group of leaders that they want to share and actually discuss regarding the leadership skills and the background. And unfortunately, you will be surprised about the data that they have. It only few of this 700 hospital, few of those leaders, they found them that they put the patient safety as on the top of their agenda. And others actually, they are, again, have no good training or education in the quality and patient safety. We have a lot of physicians, we have a lot of healthcare workers, they are very professional in their profession, but again, the patient safety, there are many things that we need really to teach ourselves to know exactly how can we work within the hospital system, not in a silos, not individual, even if you are the boss or even if you are the CEO. So you have to think about how can we improve it. So this is the traditional, and this is the data which is internationally published that you can even, I put all the references, by the way, at the end of this presentation. Then if you talk about who are the leaders in a very general one, that we expect everybody to have the leadership attitude in order to act to prevent any harm to the patient. So this is expected from anybody. But when we go to the clear definition, we can say that they are the people who can productively direct the efforts in the healthcare to foster the culture and commitment to the patient safety. So there are people who can, their decision can make the actual change, can support the staff, can build the culture. So those are the people. It doesn't matter if they are on the top of the hierarchy or if they are part of the team, but this is very important to know exactly who are the leaders. Now, when we talk about the new trend regarding the clinical leadership, I'm sorry, I have maybe to say that they are part of the general directors or the CEO or the board, and many of these, they are the one who can really set the organization strategic plan, so they can really make the alignment for all the strategic direction towards the patient safety. If we talk about the clinical experience, this we are talking about the doctors, nurses, pharmacists, all those people, healthcare workers, and those clinical experience, clinical leadership, they work with the patient using their clinical experience and skills. So they are purely clinical. You have really to support them in order to reach their aim, which is saving the patient, cure the patient, and this is the most important thing for them. How to make them part of the team, this is part of your leadership role. How to put them part of this symphony in order that they can play with the team. But again, they put the patient as the crown customer for them. This is all what they think about it, especially for the clinical leadership. This slide, honestly, I put it, I know that all of you are the CPHQ. We have this many times in our questions and the CPHQ, the type of the 6 styles of leadership. I will just tell you something in general, just for my colleagues who maybe didn't know about it before. There are many styles, but the one that we have it always, we have the 6 general types that we have it. One of them is the transformational leadership, and this is one of the leadership that can inspire the confidence and staff in order to have their job description, to be actually part of the team, and to enrich their loyalty through a shared vision. And this is underlying word. This word is really very important, to have the shared vision between all the team. You are, as the leader, you are the key person really to keep the reality through the shared vision of the organization. Not your vision, not the vision of the bosses, not the vision of the board of directors, it's the vision of the organization, which has to be actually built on the purpose of the patient safety. This is what we are all working for. Now, the transactional leadership, it's again part of the leader or even style that can act to drive them the change. And this is very important, especially with the period that we are now of the change that everybody now is working to be in alignment with the Vision 2030, with the concept of the patient safety, to save patient, all of this. So this kind of leaders are needed, not necessarily to be always only one style. It could be changeable according to the situation. When we go to the autocratic, this is a purely military, but doesn't mean that we have it only in military services. Sometimes as a hospital director or as a CEO, you need to have this type or this style at a moment that you have to need a decision to be made, not still to have the chat with others. The laissez-faire or laissez-faire leadership style, this is maybe it's not recommended for the patient safety, because sometimes it's very loose for taking the decision. This is only my humble opinion, but maybe it can suit the artistic business because it will give the imagination for the staff. It's not, but again, maybe at sometimes we need it, especially when we have like a brainstorming sessions or something that we want really to be more creative. The task-oriented leadership, this is a style involved the planning, work, and activities, and this is important, especially with the execution and with the executive people who really be the managers or at the sharp end level of the staff. The last one is the relationship-oriented leadership style, which incorporates support and development and recognition. Again, if you just look at it, that can be like, if you are a leader, you might be, again, according to the situation, at one type of this style, and later on you can change. But definitely the transformational one is really very important to inspire people and the team to work with them. And again, shared vision towards the patient safety. Now we'll come to the third part, which is the healthcare system and the leadership. We agreed from the first video that the leadership system is very complex, not only because of the complexity of the process, but even because of the different level of education, different level of background. And this is one of the major challenges maybe in Saudi Arabia. You know that we have in our hospital more than 42 nationalities working under the same hospital. This is again, this is one of the most important things that we have to consider. That's why when we have like a standard or the accreditation of the policies and procedure, is to make sure that everybody is in line with the hospital or with the organization plan. This is very important even when you want to sell the idea of the accreditation or sell the idea that everybody has to work through one policy It's not because you want to be very autocratic, but it's the thing that you want people to work within an alignment of the patient safety goals within the hospital and organization. Usually, this is the 4 categories: the patients and the care team. Can I ask you, and it's already written, but can I ask you before I will just go back to this one? When we talk about the care team, who else other than the patient and the staff, sorry, I already said, for the staff, who else has to be in the care team? Can you just please write it or answer it in the chat? Okay. Anyway, it was written, but thank you very much that you still focus with me. Patient and family are very important part of the care team. If we deal with the patient and family in this way, so we will consider them from the beginning until the end of the patient journey, not only that they are the people always nagging on us, that we want to know what happened with our patient, what exactly do you want to do with them. We feel our patient was in pain yesterday. So make the patient as part of your team. Spread this culture in your hospital. Spread this culture in your team, the one that they are working in the front line, and you as a leaders. Then we have the organization. The organization, we are talking about the hospital, clinic, and home care, etc. Then we talk about later, the last thing is about the environment. So again, it includes the political, include the financial payment, all of this, and the market for the private. So all of this will affect the patient, or sorry, the healthcare system. So from what we now, when we talk about the healthcare system and the leadership, as you see here from this diagram, that we have the leadership who's working with the staff, working using a strategy and policy resources. Then there is a process management, and this is the core that we are talking about now. Later on, it's about the process management. So it starts from the staff, resources, and then the process management, and then we have the appreciation, until the end we have the results. So again, it will go back to the leadership. So leadership are the key in making this process. So let's look to James Razel, the one for the Swiss cheese that we all talk about it. When we talk about the patient safety, I don't think anybody can skip this slide or the Swiss cheese model to talk about the patient safety and the harm. If you see the multiple steps, and if you see how is the alignment between the whole until the error reached the patient, so we can really think about it, that there was no clear leadership and no cohesive team structure. And we have to work from the beginning, not only to close this gap from the beginning, how to prevent this actually error to go through until reach the patient. Let's take it, I just want to share this with you. This is one of the James Conway. He's one of the IHI senior fellow. He said, our system are too complex to expect merely extraordinary people to perform perfect 100% of the time. We as a leader have responsibility to put in place system to support safe practice. So you are, as a leader now, you have to make sure that this is part of your thinking. You have a professional people working with you, but still the system is too complex, and that's why we're still hearing about every day about the error happened in the hospitals, not only in Saudi Arabia, everywhere, and even in a large hospitals with a very high level of performance, because we still human being, and we will have the error that could happen and reach the patient. So what is the role of the leadership in the successful safe healthcare? This is what we have to think about it. Now we are talking about the patient safety should be as part of as an integrated part of the patient care system. Patient safety, it's not like an added item to be added to the committee meetings or something that let's go and discuss the patient safety. It should be actually patient safety / patient care. It's the same. If you have the care without safety, so we are not actually doing the right things or doing our job as a healthcare provider. Definitely the senior leader, they are the one who set the direction and continue communication the priorities to the staff. But again, they have to consider how they can translate these priorities to the frontliners. For example, if we talk about, prevention of infection. As a CEO, he might say that, for example, we want to reduce the HIA or the hospital-acquired infection by 50%. Is the CEO, he's the one who will do all the process later on? No. So he has really to prepare and build the culture that can Let the people working in the environmental management and the infection control, all the staff dealing with the patient, to know exactly what is the infection control prevention protocols that they have to adopt. What is the hand hygiene? And if they don't do it, what could happen and reach the patient? So we have really to know which level that we are talking. So we're talking about the CEO and talking about and then talking about the other frontliners who will execute this process and protocol in order to prevent the harm for the patient. And this is the very important, again, keyword, it's non-delegable. Authority can be delegated, but never, but actually responsibility never being delegated. Please keep this even as one statement. You can delegate the authority under your supervision, but you never delegate your responsibility as a leader. Again, for the essential, as we said, that we have, the main thing is to develop the safety culture. This is very important, to be accountable for effective care and protecting safety of patient, employees, and visitors. And please put this in your mind until we reach the fourth part, because safety of employees and visitors is as important equally to the patient, to the safety of the patient. If we go back to the cheese model, so we can see again here that you as a leader, you have to be aware about the systemic flow. And even with each step, the exit from each step in this complex multi-steps patient care process, the leaders, they have to define potential step for failure by human error to identify the hazard, the latent hazard and the weaknesses. So when we even draw the system or the process, we have to know where is actually the latent hazard that could not maybe be obvious to everybody, and to work on preventing, or to have the approach or protocol to prevent the error from happening, or to be continuously reach the patient. This is very important for you as a leader, especially in your planning phase. Then this is something very simple. If we think about it, it's not something that we need really to do a lot of efforts, but it's a mindset that you have to put it. What could go wrong in order to improve it? Now, as a leader, how can you prevent this one? Again, be very practical. Go for the targets that can help the staff from I don't want to help the staff from helping them not to harm the patient. How you can do it? It's very clear. There are many things that we can do it, and do it in a practical way that they know about it. For example, you have to provide them with enough and competent staff, experienced team members, well-designed communication process, strong supervision. So it's not the word that you want to see it in your meetings or in your gala dinner. No, this is something that you have to do it, and to let everybody know that you are supporting them by doing so and so and so, and listen to them, and we'll talk about this later on. So this is one of the slides that might be very theoretical when we read it in the beginning, but we have to go through it. The board and executive take the responsibility to meet the community needs. This is what all the CEOs or the board before think, that all what they have to do is only to meet the community needs. So we design, we do the plan, it's only according to community needs. This is very important and very important part of the plan. But we have to set the organizational values and strategic direction. This is very critical word, the values in the organization, because this is what let everybody to share it in order to reach your needs, your goals, your objective that you want to do it. Then offering an inspiring vision and clear direction. This has to be very clear. Clear understanding of the relationship between the cost and quality. Definitely the people with the board of directors and the CEO, especially the financial controller. I hope that we have some financial people with us. We always talk about the cost. This is okay, fine. We all need to have really, the cost is an important part. But again, we have to make sure that we manage it. We have the management between, or the balance between the cost and the quality, and it will never jeopardize the quality or the patient safety. So as a leader, we have to manage, align the efforts, and direct the people and resources based on honest review of data. Again, you as a leader, you have to build your decision and your resource alignment based on data. It's not based on preferences of anybody. It's based on data, and this what can really make you a strong leader and strong decision maker. Then again, remove the barriers to progress and celebrate the success. Definitely, misstate adherence to non-practice that all promote patient safety. One of these practices could be the accreditation standards that can help you actually to give what could be the non-practices that they can really adopt. Then after this, we build the safety culture and labeling culture to promote the patient safety. Now, the patient safety culture is really defined, and we all know about it. And the learning culture, this is very important. The error when it happens and we catch it, it's not only because we want to address and admit that we have the problem. We have really to know that this is very important for the culture to learn from the error. I see one of the comments is the value-based healthcare improvement, quality and control costs. Thank you, Mr. Hussein. Definitely, this is very important when we talk. And the value-based is one of the new concepts that now adopted by all our leaders in the healthcare, that we really want to think about the quality and how this quality can be really later on can decide about even the cost. It's not vice versa. I'm sorry to say it in Arabic. احنا ما ندور على الرخيص. We have really to look for the patient safety and what could be the good technology that we can adopt in order to provide a good quality for our patient. Then build the clinician leadership. Now we have really to work on this one, and we will go to one of the steps during the guidelines of the leadership, how we can really build the clinician leadership, the same as for the frontline ownership, and then lead the constant change. This is one of the things that you as a leader, you have to say one thing, that the only constant factor is the change. By the way, this is not my word, this is Dr. Kotter's word. The change is really has to be adapted or adaptable by the organization. It's not the word that every time we will change. Yes, we will change for the sake of the patient safety. If there's something that we really heard about it or know that we really need to change for the sake of the patient safety, we will do it. It's not, there's nothing fixed. Nothing has to be actually going the same thing without any improvement. So you have as a leader to build this concept in your team, that the change is an essential factor. And don't be in a tunnel vision to look only to your hospital, even if you are in a very big institute, to think that this institute is one of the accredited hospital, acknowledged by this award, whatever. Think about how can you change for the sake of the patient. We have many actually good experience from our hospitals, and maybe inshallah, maybe one time you can even look to the patient experience presentation happened in the Ministry of Health or even with others, to show you that there are many changes in a very big institute, that they change it for the sake of the patient safety and for good patient experience. This is when we are talking about actually the good patient experience or the value based. And at the end, if you are doing your thing, you have to do it right. So think about now the value based later on, inshallah, maybe you will have a share of this one. Now, how can we know that she or he is a good leader? Can anybody please give me an answer of this one? Who is the leader from your understanding, from your experience? How can I say that this is a leader or not? Excellent. Best outcomes. Take responsibility. Let me make it close, come on to you. What if there is when the error happened? How do you think that a good leader will deal, and what is the bad leader will deal? I'm sorry to say bad leader, but he is not a leader. Excellent. This is all good. Outcome assessment raises another leader. Great. When she can build positive culture, doesn't blame staff. Exactly. One of the best things, Mr. Ziad, is that it's really when you have an error and you found the leader that just stopped and he said, who did so? Just make the label for this leader that he is not a leader. If we are asking who did so, definitely this is very important, exactly why it's happened. So there are many questions that we have to ask, what happened and why it happened and what's supposed to be happened. Then later on, we can ask who did so in order to know what was actually missed to let the staff lead to this problem. So actually, this is what we know, what we need to ask. The good leaders, they will ask these questions in order to prevent this error from reoccurrences, and whose fault comes actually at one point, but not in the beginning. So as a leader, please go for this one. Now we will go again to the fourth, and as I told you, that number 4, leadership guide to patient safety. This is the core of our presentation today. Can anybody please share with us, for example, the last evidence or event happened in his hospital, and I will read it to you all. If something happened in your hospital, like a sentinel event happened, and was this a surprise to the team, or how can you deal with it? Anybody can share it with us, please. Wallahi, from what I'm receiving from you, I can just believe that you are all leaders, mashallah. All your answers are right. Okay, I have it from Miss Mana. Wrong chemo dose for wrong patient. Okay, this is great. Was this a surprise when it happened to your team, and how you deal with it? There was a wrong chemo dose for a wrong patient. Okay. Yes, it was a surprise. You consider it definitely as a sentinel event. Did you consider it as a sentinel event? Okay. Now, when we talk about only this event, the wrong chemo dose for a wrong patient, you can see these 4 words only. That really, you see the problem that it's not that you now if you can assault the medication team or the nursing or actually the people who are transfer or the people who can make the patient identification. So you cannot find here that one person can be blamed. Now, if you think about this as a process, you can really now tell yourself, okay, let's take the one word wrong, the chemo dose, and the wrong patient. Those 3 actually, this is the triangle that we have to think why this happened. So you will never find that there is one person can be blamed in this one person, never. So it's a system-wide that you have to critique it to know exactly why this is, why this happened, okay? And then we will talk about it. Now, we are going now to the next phase of this one, which is the leadership guide to patient safety. I have really to thank the IHI as always, because those are our references in the patient, actually healthcare improvement and in the patient safety. This is a paper published in 2006, and I tried to summarize it and to share it with you. This is actually, it's a group of leaders who actually come together. They try to share their experience from a big hospital and to make their experience actually available, to build on this and share it with the hospital, how to improve the patient safety and the experience. Those senior leaders are from very big hospitals, and they address the patient safety and the quality as a strategic imperative within their organization. So this is very important part of our presentation today. I know all of the previous one that we all shared together. This concept, as I mentioned, that it was in 2006. This paper with all references, you will find it in the presentation at the end. And it's really, it have all the details. And this is what I was caring, that to have the detailed, simple process that if we can adopt it, which I'm sure that most of it is already in your hospitals, maybe it needs the alignment, or for our new colleague that they are new to the healthcare services. Though, as I mentioned, that it presents how it can be done to make the dramatic change, ensure the steps to achieve the patient safety within the care system. Actually, this is, it consists of 8 steps. Give a very high level overview of this that recommended for leaders to follow. These steps are very detailed. It will vary from one hospital or one organization to the others, depends on how strong the patient safety, especially we are talking about the infrastructure. Depends on your experience, and I'm not saying you as, I mean your hospital experience and the patient safety, the level of the improvement methodology that you reach, and again the style of the leadership or the management there, it will vary. So you can know, and when you make the assessment for your organization, to know exactly when you can start. I have to say thank you or welcome to our colleague from Dubai. We will start with this one, this 8 steps, and we will go one by one. When I finish each step, I will just give like a few minutes. We can just have like a conclusion about everyone or summary about this one, so at least it will stay in your mind. While it's very simple, inshallah. The first one is address the strategic priority and infrastructure. This actually step one consists of 5 items. The first one is establish the patient safety as a strategic priority. So this is very clear that the senior leaders, they have the responsibility and the authority. Just remember these 2 words, that the responsibility, never delegated. You can delegate the authority, but you will still own the final or the ultimate responsibility to position the safety as part of the strategic priority in the organization. Definitely, this is not, again, an added part, and to keep this culture, to make it as integrated part of the job description and of the daily work from the daily actually task for all the staff. How you can do it? You can do it easily with a very clear, again, practical steps. Make sure that, for example, that you can discuss things with your staff, with your team in a different level, with a full transparency. If you go to the first one, so this is only tips for you as a leaders that we can do it. Simply, you just get the last, for example, meeting minutes or agenda, and check if you have actually the patient safety as on the top of this agenda. If you are the quality director or the leaders, please make sure that the patient and staff safety issues, it's on the top of the agenda. Not only this, but you have it in a very clear discussion and reach how you can close those gaps. So don't please put it only to be part of the meeting minutes. It's part of the action that should be on the top priority. Routine review and the discussion of the data from patient and staff safety. So always we talk about, please use the data and clarify and validate the data. You know, we are in a quality team, actually. We are very good in producing the reports and the dashboard. So make sure that you validate the data. Make sure that you build your decisions based on the data for the patient safety and staff. There's, again, another follow-up with an action plan assigned to the senior leader accountable for follow-up. Make your senior leaders as part of the execution team, so they will be a bit aware. By the way, the more you get people aware and oriented about what they are doing or what's happening in their hospital, their mindset will be changed. They will know exactly what could happen wrong. And again, always, we talk about this relationship or this journey from the C-suite or executive suite to the sharp end. Please listen to your frontliner. Those are the people who can drive the change, because they are the one who is facing the challenges and facing our patient. Then later on, as I said, that the patient safety issues prominently on the senior staff and board meeting. I have the honor that I work in one hospital that, as a quality director, at any executive board, I have to present the quality report to the executive board, and they discuss it with me. By the time they were really educated about what is the patient safety issues and how they can even redirect sometimes some of the budget for the sake of the patient safety. So this should be part of the board of executive agenda. Then when successfully safety projects are presented, develop a plan to spread the word throughout the organization. The safety project should be the language for everybody. Try to find the tool or mechanism that can spread it, and put part of the executive actually safety to the safety performance improvement teams, and review the outcomes regularly. As I said, again, include the patient safety in the staff orientation. This is, I think, even part of our regular work now, but please insist to put the patient safety, whether it's a separate orientation program or within the GHO, the General Hospital orientation. Make sure that if there is any update, like on an annual basis, there is an update to keep everybody updated about this one. So at the conclusion of this one, I can say that the prominent placement of patient safety as part of the strategic plan, it's a symbolic and practical value for everybody. If I see that my CEO or the chair of the board of directors talking about the patient safety, so I know that we are really directed in alignment with a very with one vision, with clear values. That is, patient is our top, or actually the staff and the patient safety is the thing that we are all aiming for. Then this is maybe a lot of details, but you have to schedule a brief presentation for staff working on the safety project with assignment of senior staff to support. Make them to talk, let them to talk about their project, listen to their challenges that they have, and put the plan how they can spread the importance of safety changes. Connect the executive performance and compensation to improvement in patient safety. This is as continuous what Mr. Hussein Peshi said regarding the value-based. So now we have to know that the executive performance and the compensation will be connected to improvements in the patient safety. Make the patient safety to be your thermometer for the performance evaluation. Then refocus hiring and promotional practices to reflect patient safety as a priority. Again, patient and staff, they are the most important people who can run the patient safety concept. This is again adopted from the IHI. It's only like a tool that you can use it. I'm not going to go to the details, but it clarifies the responsibility of each leader, what could be the goals, and how this could be, who are the key drivers to achieve the goal. When we come to the second part, which is assess the organization culture, we are all know about the organization, the patient safety culture assessment that is already introduced in 2004 by the AHRQ. So you can adopt one of these tools and you can use it. And really, my colleague in Saudi Patient Safety Center, they have a good experience in promoting this through the hospitals. So if you need any help, you can communicate with them and your hospitals. Make sure that we want to avoid the traditional contributing factors to put the harm, which is blaming culture, autonomy among clinicians, lack of teamwork, lack of transparency about the medical error, and poor communication. As usual, we will go back to the communication. So this is advise you in this part to use one of the culture organization assessment. And to start support the just culture as defined by James Raisin is one of the support the decision of the errors so that the lessons can be learned from them. This is very important point, because sometimes we said we want to move from non-blame actually culture or no blame culture to the just culture. Doesn't mean in the just culture that we will have a blame, but the thing that we will discuss the system error happened in order to lead to the harm, and then we can identify the gap to fill this gap in order not to prevent the reoccurrence of this one. So just culture, it doesn't mean that we want to blame somebody. We want really to identify where was the gap that we really need to work on it. By the way, I put here some of the YouTubes that I know can help in understanding this simply. You will find it within 5 to 10 minutes. I put even the link in the presentation that you can access it. I think it will help because it's very simple, especially if you want to use it for education of your staff later on. So when we talk about the culture now, we said about the safety culture, but we have again go back to the culture of change. The culture of change is very important. I'd like really to say thank you or welcome to our colleague Vienna from Philippines. It's really great to have our guests from everywhere. So the culture of change is very important, and again, it's the most difficult step. But if you started in your organization, you will feel how people, they will be more, they can adapt the change, they can understand that we change for the sake only for the patient safety. This is if and only if you have a shared vision and values with them. Then we go to the third step, which is first, how to establish the culture that support patient safety. Again, the AHRQ, they put a lot of details that I'm really maybe less experienced to tell all the details about it, because the program in the AHRQ, it gives you all the details with even the form, the analysis you needed. It's very, very interesting to use it and very, very important, simple to be used. So first of all, you have to build the trust. So communication of the medical error with a clear transparency. Make sure that there's a transparency when we talk about the medical error. Transparency not only with your staff, this should be with a full transparency with the patient. Again, now we are building the patient, the culture with our patient, with our public, to know exactly when the error happened, why it happened. If we can see a lot of videos, and we even see it in the patient safety conferences, that always the patient now in the Western world, that they acknowledge the error, but because this is a culture built with the public, and this is what we need to build to build this culture and this concept with our public in a very simple language. We have to consider our patient, to teach them, to get them learn exactly when the error happened, why it's happened. We are losing our family member, so they have to understand why this happened. They will acknowledge maybe at a time that we know we can't blame you because if there's no negligence, so this was not your fault, it's a system fault, and they might help you to prevent this from reoccurrence with others. So building the trust, this is very important and contributing factor between you as a leader and between your staff. Then sustain a self-disclosure of medical error. This should be actually part of your protocol, and make this as an education. This is a culture between your staff, then when there is a disclosure, don't ever say that please close this subject. This never can be closed. This is never can be closed. A patient harmed because of error, so we need really to disclose this to the staff and again to the patient. Then you have to promote the sustainable, just culture. As I said, that the staff actually, they will test this one. They will test you as a leader, that if really they will disclose or talk or report about the incident, how you will deal with them. Are you gonna fire one of the, as I mentioned, our colleague here, that we fire the security guard, or we fire the medication officer, or we fire the pharmacist? Believe me, if you will do it and you will actually trace the report, you will find how it will phase down, because they want to test you how you are dealing with them. Don't make it as a buzzword, because they are very smart to know that this will not be sustainable in their culture. So make sure that you talk what you walk what you talk, and you do exactly what you promised them to do, that you want to share the analysis of the report, you want to discuss with them the details and to know exactly why this happened. Then the last thing is reward the middle manager. It's regarding actually the good catch, and I know our colleague in the MOH, Ms. Haifa, and the others, they have now the program regarding the good catch, and this is again will encourage them to increase the reporting and establishing the reliable process, because the staff, they will actually work on doing this one, and to hold the manager and staff accountable for establishing reliable process. It's a good approach to have the reward middle management. Not only the middle managers, actually anybody that they can report. Now, this is very important to start maybe with, is to address the organization infrastructure. Your organization, you know about the challenges there, you know about the success story there, so you know from where you can start. And I'm sorry, I will stop here because I can read even some of the comments regarding our patients are difficult. Believe me that our patients are really looking for safety of them and for their family. So we are here for our patient. So again, we have to think about how we can make our patient understand, so they will turn from difficult patient to a patient who are understanding. Again, some talking about the resistance change, because some of they believe in the contradicts to the culture and spiritual belief. I think this is part of our role, my dear, that we have really to consider that those are part of our challenges. We are working in our country. We have to consider what is the challenges of our patient regarding literacy, regarding some of the culture, things that they believe in it, and we have to think and respect it. We have to work with this because those are our patient and we are working for them. So we have to think about it. And later on, we can share some of the experience that you have it when we finish this part. Now, what is the organization infrastructure? We will start by the 4, which is the safety officer or patient safety officer, the patient safety committee, safety action teams, and senior leaders. So again, the details of this one can give you an idea that you as a CEO, you have to assign somebody who is a patient safety officer, regardless the title, but this patient safety officer as a function has to be here. It can be actually reports and supported to the executive. So it's not because this is if the hierarchy or the organization chart doesn't matter, but this is part of showing the organization, the support that will be given to the patient safety officer or to the safety concept on the organization. Now, control and assess and improve. What will be his job description? This is, again, it can be very clear, and it's everywhere that you can drive or you can develop the job description. Most important is to control and assess and improve the safety across the organization, establishing effective reporting relationship. This is very important. It's regarding when they report, how we can reply to them, how we can close the cycle or close this subject, how we can show them how we learned from this error happened or from the incident happened, and how we can recognize them for their reporting. Ensure the alignment. This is very important to integrate risk management, quality assurance, quality improvement, credentialing, and other focuses resources with the shared strategic aim of patient safety. How many of you as a leaders and quality, you make sure that actually we are cascading the strategic plan to our quality plan, to risk management plan, to the credentialing process, and then even to reporting system, to the education, to allocation of the budget. This has to be very stream from the strategic goals until the end of this process. So don't make the quality plan, it's in a silo from the strategic plan. The risk management is another one. Then the reporting system is different. This will be very scattered and then will be very diluted. And I can assure you, nobody will be abide by this actually protocol because everybody is working in his own island. Ensure training of staff about the patient safety. This is important to be able to address gaps in patient safety proactively. Please, when we talk about training of staff, we are all, mashallah, professional. So it's not only a theoretical part. Please share the experience, make the on-job training, get the advantage of having a very good, mashallah, now approach in our country from for patient safety, from the Saudi Patient Safety Center, from the efforts happened by the MOH, happened from the Saudi Services Council, definitely by Sibahi. So we have a lot of resources that can really rely. And the best thing in our period now, which is the golden period, it's the alignment between all of us towards the patient safety. Us, when I said us, it means all the healthcare provider in our country now. So make sure that they have the on-job training, not only theoretical part. Assess the impact of safety and improvement activities over time based on the data analysis and interpretation by experts. Please put this statement with a very highlight, underline it so many times. The data has to be validated and interpreted by experts. Not everybody can say, okay, we have a wonderful pie chart, we have the best patient experience this month, and then you will find an angry patient every day. So please don't use only the charts, only to have the decision. Make sure that you understand it and read it. By the way, this is one of the standards that we put, that the quality expert, they have to be educated and know exactly how they can read and interpret the data analysis. Coming to the next, which is the Patient Safety Committee. This is, again, I think now we have it in all our hospitals, alhamdulillah, after maybe Sibahi standard. We have a comprehensive leadership action committee. They have to have a very clear term of references, meet regularly. They have to have an action and follow up and identify and assign the priorities and resources. I'm sorry if I cannot read all the comments, but I will try to stop some time to go for your comments and reply or discuss it with you. Then the senior leader, this is very important to know exactly who are the senior leaders and how we can address the quality and patient safety issues. Gain an understanding of personal commitment to quality. Work with the frontliner staff with the transparency about the difficulties. You as a leader, you have to listen to your staff. You have to support them, remove the barriers to the patient safety, invest in the staff training, and hire experts in healthcare quality and safety. Believe me, this is really a golden recipe for you as a leader if you want to be really in a good shape as a leader to do these steps. Very easy. Hire the experts and invest in your staff in training in patient safety. They are the one who's actually facing the challenges, and don't ever please do your decisions without listening to them, because you have to know how exactly they are dealing with the challenges with their patients. Then the safety action teams, this is really a very good approach. And maybe I always say this is in one of my presentations, that when we visit Canada in 2007, I don't recall the name of the hospital, but when we asked the lady there, she's the head of the quality and she's only a quality coordinator. Thank you. I asked how many staff you have in the quality department. She said, we don't have a quality department. We have a cross-functional team. And this is great. She has only one data analyst, and she is a nurse with a very vast experience. And then they have the cross-functioning team. Cross-functioning team, it means that we have the people from the medical, pharmacy, security. So this is how we can approach that, involving everybody on a different level, and you can define it by developing a very simple, high-level flow process, and then you will identify who are the people that they should be in this team. There are small cross-functional groups with the people. They need periodically discuss safety. They discuss information from the safety reporting system, identify the solution with participation of the sharp end staff. Plus, this is a key word, the sharp end staff. Who is the last one, or who is the real frontliner who deal with the patient in this process? If you identify, you can understand exactly how you can support them. Provide the direct feedback to the senior leaders about the impact of their changes. So those teams, they will be actually the right voice that can reach the executives and to know to convince them exactly about what the changes they want. Excuse me. And after this changes, they will. I have water. Thank you very much. Okay, we go to the fifth step for this one, which is learn about the patient safety and the methods of improvement. There is a model actually introduced by the IHI called Model for Improvement. You will find all the details again in this paper or in the IHI website. They accelerate the improvement through tests of frontline staff ideas to be used for the change and to be supported by key stakeholders prior to prod implementation. Do you think when we have this actually improvement based on the patient, on the staff or the frontline staff, how much those people they will be actually supported and committed to execute this plan? Just think about it. If they are the one who started the planning, so it means that they will be highly committed to these changes. And again, make sure that this could be flexible. Flexible, it means that, for example, if we have an idea and we started and something happened that it doesn't work, so we can think about it and redesign it, and then we can use it we can use another successful plan or successful or another actually approach. So definitely, we don't need to say that this is the idea of X, so we shouldn't actually take it. So people, they will not give you any idea before, and you have the ideas, you have a process, you design it, and you start it. So if you have any challenge during this one, there's no harm that you can rethink about it. There's no harm that you can rethink to change or redesign it in order to reach the patient safety, and to make everybody knows that we changes because so and so, and we recognize the people who give us the idea. So people, they know that they will go with you with a flexibility of change. So they know they will continue with you, and they even will go with the change. Then after this, actually, what is the step of this one? The model of improvement is very simple. It's actually two parts. First of all is the three fundamental questions. It's what we are doing. What are we trying to accomplish? So you have to decide what is the aim or the goal. How will we know the change is an improvement? What changes can we make that we will result in improvement? Now, I want everybody of you, please now, or even when we finish, let's think about simple thing in your hospital. If you talk about the hand hygiene, if you talk about the infection, about any of the reducing it, we can make it very easily that we think what exactly we aim to do. For example, accomplish, for example, 60 or 70% of the hand hygiene in the nursing department, in the ICU, and then how we know that the change is an improvement. Does this change that we are doing it's only for the purpose of the change, or because it was an order from the MOH or order from the CEO, or this change is really can make the improvement with a clear achievement that we can be happy with it? What changes can we make that will result in improvement? For example, that we use different approach for teaching our nurses, using a new tool that can be used for the for the staff, easy to be accessed, having advanced technology in this one. So think easily and simply, so it will be done. Then this will not replace the BDCA or BDSA, but again, we have to make that or give the time for the planning longer from the execution of the BDSA. We are all know that sometimes we focus on the BDSA much more than to achieve the results. So don't let actually the process design or actually the paper or the presentation will take you from the actual purpose that you are there for, especially for the quality leaders. For step 2, before we start for step 2, I want to go if there is anything regarding the question that you put it regarding the, I think Ms. Makia, thank you very much for answering. All the presentation will be recorded and it will be sent to you if you registered. Now we go to step 2, which is engage the stakeholders. Definitely the stakeholders, we define them in the beginning. They are the staff and the board of trustees, patient and families, and the physicians. We'll go through every one and in a very easy, clearly one. For the board of trustees, I put a lot of details here, but I will summarize it in one thing, that those people, they have to ensure the strategic actually direction and the business plan is built on the patient safety goals. So we have a lot of actually financial goals that we have to do with the market share, but the patient safety goal, it should be the integrated part. Then provide the infrastructure, resources, and education and staff. This is part of the board of trustees or the C executive. Hold the management accountable for addressing the patient safety issues based on reviewing the data, again, validated data, interpreted by expert due to key organizational metrics, and adverse event report and root cause analysis. So those has to be part of the documents or the study that has to be done before we put the strategic plan. So this is very important to understand those, or actually to consider this when you are driving, when we are developing actually the strategic plan. Make sure that the quality is as equal as the financial part or actually weight when we are designing or putting the strategic plan. This is very important to know about this one. I will share this with you with Jim Conway again. He said that he actually believed in Pareto charts and all the data, but there's nothing actually effectively as the patient story. I think we all believe that the patient story is the most effective part that can really change the organization, the whole strategic plan, sometimes from a patient story. Because actually most of the even our strategic direction now on the level of the high level of the healthcare in our country is based on the patient story. Again, I have here maybe to mention the essential safety requirement or the ESR from Sibahi. You all know that has been selected from the Sentinel event happened in our country, and the changes happened now in our country. And you can say all the stakeholders now, they are working to improve the compliance with the ESR based on the findings, even for the budget allocation, even for the resource allocation, or even hiring, those built on this compliance with the ESR. And the ESR actually, it was adapted from the lessons we learned from the Sentinel event. Okay, if I'm not ready or they are not ready as a board of trustees, what should they have to do? They have to get the importance, they have to get the education that they need. The education should be not only in the management and even the financial management, but again, about the patient safety and the quality of care. They have to give attention to the financial issue, definitely, and to make the balance between the cost and the quality. Engage the board in the discussion regarding the patient safety measures, include on the dashboard reviewed at each meeting. Discuss the organization performance in relation to the national best practice. Please put your organization as part of the national team or the national actually system. You are not working in a silo. And now again, we have a lot of programs that will include everybody. Part of it that everybody knows about it is the disaster management plan that make everybody is part of this plan. So not only for this one, please put your organization as part of the best practice on the national level. Alhamdulillah, we have now many organizations that they are actually accountable for this, like the Saudi Patient Safety Center, and even the Saudi Health Services Council. A lot of people now, they are on the MOH for sure, they are actually accountable for the patient safety. So put your part as part of the country or the national level. Strengthen the aspects of the organization's strategic plan relate to quality and care, patient safety. Be visible, please, to your patient, family, and staff and community. You, as board of the trustees or staff, you have to be visible, or at least that can be accessible to those people. When we talk now, the second part, which is, with all my respect to my colleagues, the physician, as the most sometimes difficult people to work, but they are the most lovely and interesting to work with them and learn from them. But the physician, usually by definition, they are a highly trained individual, and they are trained actually to act independently. So this is very important. They actually sometimes make them practice autonomy and with autonomy. So this is very important. They now put them as part of the system, which is, alhamdulillah, I think we have this very clear in our country now. The physicians are part of the system. You can start with the people who already have an education for the patient safety and the quality. And you know who are the people that can really be the best to start as a champion for safety? Those doctors who already face the challenge, whether with their patient or with their family. You can start by them. You can even just let them to nominate themselves to be part of the cross-functional team or the quality champion in your hospital or the patient safety. And I'm sure that they can start as a nucleus for the patient safety concept in your organization to build the culture. This is only an example, again, from the IHI, that how you can adopt and engage the physician. This is just to tell you the details, and again, it's already published in 2007. When we talk now about the staff, and those are the key actually in the process, they can just work with, empower the staff, trusting them, listen to their ideas. This is very important. Discuss with them their issue, give them the chance to participate in making the decision, and you can recognize this again, that they are part of the decision. Inspire the staff, fully contribute to the work team, actively promote their achievement team outside, foster the teamwork, good communication to a higher rates of staff retention. Again, as a leader, think about it before any hiring and firing. If you hire the expert and you build their capacity and you train them, and at any time you want to fire them, think about this one and think about to invest on more on the retention of the staff, especially the expert, especially the people with a high caliber, before you said, okay, ما في مشكلة, you can resign. This is very critical for your organization before it's for the staff themselves. So we finished the engagement, and we have the last and the most important actually stakeholders are the patient and family. As I mentioned from the beginning, that those people, they have to be actually part of your care team from the beginning. You have to be very clear with them. This is one of the mechanisms, reflection of the patient and family voices. Again, this was introduced by IHI in 2005. They have all the details that you can use it as a tool, but you consider actually the reflections from the patient as part of the challenge that has to be work and discuss it, and even make a design of the process according to these challenges. This is again support the concept of patient-centered care, and you all know that now we are focusing on the person-centered care, which is patient and staff and visitors. We have to take care about all of this, not only the patient, because they are all one in one pot. We have to have the coordination among all the members of the healthcare team across the setting, so they have to understand exactly what is the reflection of the patient and family voices. Again, very clear and very direct sometimes, that you have to disclose with them any medical error. You can make sure that you apologize for them if something happened. Discuss with them, or share with them, not discuss, share with them the RCA if something happened with them, so they can understand exactly what happened. And this is very important to consider them in the plan. By the way, I think we did not reach until now that we put the patient and family as part of the care team, and this is really very crucial for them. And again, as my colleagues here said, that we have really to work, and I'm going to take this, I'm sure the Patient Safety Center, they are taking this responsibility to make the public education in this regards. Again, this is one of the mechanism, which is the teach back. This is very important, again, the mechanism introduced by the patient, by the IHI. And this is the concept that can really look and respect to the health literacy of the patient and their family. They don't understand the medical jargon when you talk about to them regarding that you have a septicemia, so exactly what you are talking to them. This is a Chinese to them, they don't understand. So you have to know exactly how to deal with them. How can we really identify their needs, their and their families, especially for example, during the discharge. We have to know exactly about the patient, who will help them there. So regarding this mechanism, which is the teach back or ask me, three actually consists of 3 questions that the patient needs to understand, even if he doesn't ask because he doesn't know. For example, is what is the main problem? So you can tell him what is the diagnosis and what do I need to do. So he needs to know what is the treatment that he will go through it and why it's important for me to do this. You have to show him that you have to take this medication because this is what would happen. This could be, for example, the problem if you don't take the medication. Make it simple for them. The appreciation of the patient culture is very important, and I think nobody more than us needs to really think about this in our country and with our patients. Now, we'll go to the step 3. So I can just see the last comment from our colleague is the high turnover and compromise the patient safety. I totally agree with you. And that's why I'm talking about my colleague now, the leaders with us. And I'm sure that our leaders in our country, this is very important to know that the real investment, it's in your staff and to hire the experts, even with the high salaries or whatever, but we have really to have a very competent people with us, because those are the people that they will have help even the junior and help in building the culture. And again, think about that, we don't want to lose them. Another comment comes, sometimes even we know it's beneficial for our patient wellness, still we cannot force them if they refuse, because patients have the right to refuse treatment. My question is, as a healthcare team, what is our stand for this? Okay, we know all that we have a clear policy regarding against medical advice, and there is a clear process and form, and this has to be documented, and who is the team who can really reply to the patient in this case. Myself, actually, I refused at one time in my treatment course, and I actually, my consultant let me to sign on this one because this was my choice. So this was my choice. So you can do this, and this can be adopted in your hospital. And I'm sure that most of you, they have this as a clear policy. Let's go to the third actually step, which is I will go directly. Begin the patient safety leadership walkarounds. This is very important, and I'm sure that most of us now, they started the walkarounds. Again, it was introduced by the IHI, and there is a clear process for the walkaround and the IHI. I put here a video from the Cleveland clinic. It's very clear and easy. If you can just want to watch it, it will give you an idea how can we work on it, or maybe start it in our hospital, which I know that is already started in many hospitals. It should be conducted in a patient care department, in the whole unit. It could be with a clear agenda. It could be built sometimes based on the adverse event happened before. It should be like an informal method. The leaders talk to the frontliners, listen to them, know what is the issues, and then it should be like a debriefing later on, what will happen or how can we do this. The leaders who focus solely on safety during walkarounds are more successful creating the culture of patient safety than those who use as an opportunity to discuss variety of topics than the budget and patient satisfaction. Now, it's good to have this as part of it, but please, if you go for the patient safety walkarounds, please make sure that you focus on the patient safety. Be very humble and good listener to the people, to your staff, and then this will, I think, build the culture. You will build the trust between you and your staff, the frontliners. The frontliners, the in-sharp liners, they want to see you, they want to talk to you, not only to see you only on the CCTV of the hospital or on the channel of the hospital. They want to talk to you and listen to them, and I'm sure you will learn a lot from them. The second thing is regarding the patient actually implement safety briefing. Safety briefing is something not like the walk around, but there is many data that if it's really done with the walk-arounds, it will really improve the patient safety culture. And this includes the step-by-step the instruction and the data collection form and pre and post survey. This is very effective tool to use it in a very detailed when you have to design any patient safety improvement project. Implement the safety, as I mentioned, how you can do it. This will help, or what we will gain from this: increase the staff awareness of patient safety issues, reduce the risk of medical error, and improve the quality of care. The most important is increase the staff awareness. Over time, this will empower the staff and the manager, and this information will be spread in the hospital or in the staff, and integrate the reporting of their concern of the daily work. So it shouldn't actually only reported when something happened. If they have any concern, let them to speak, actually to talk about it. So at least we can catch the problem before, we can prevent the problem before we catch the incident. Then it has to be done in all the units in the hospital, as I mentioned. And then they can actually be used to review of any safety-related topic, including unsafe conditions for medication use, falls. So we can do a safety briefing for any of this concern of the patient safety. Now, number 3 is the SPAR. I know that our respected nurses, our valuable nurses, they use the SPAR as an ABC in their handover in every shift. But SPAR is as part of the communication tool, not necessarily to be the one that used by the nurses. It's actually it's an effective mechanism to standardize the discussion among the team or the caregivers, in order to make sure that the same information that everybody is looking is given to the right person with the right way. So this is just to make it easy. I make it hatta even with an example that the staff and the physician are undergo training. They have to have the training. And for example, when we start with the S, this is the acronym, is S for situation. I'm calling about Mr. Smith, who is short of breath. So you have to define who is this and what is the situation. The background is a patient with a chronic lung disease, and his condition has been deteriorating, and he's now actually worse. Then assessment, he is decreased breath sound, the right side, and I think he probably has collapsed. Then the recommendation, I think probably needs a chest tube, and I need you to see him now. So this is clear that that we can use it as part of the communication. Number 4, which is very interesting actually, that we always call that we have to learn from other industries. Aviation is one of our really leaders in the safety. So the CRM, or the crew resource management, this is part of the team or the concept that we can start it, which is again for the communication technique that started in the aviation, and based on the team-centered decision-making system. And this could be like, you can call it whatever you want. For example, now we started the huddle in our hospital. This could be a part of the CRM, and they can discuss one issue, and then they have to take the decision all together, so they can at least have a consensus about what could be the action done, and they have the full commitment for it. Again, its approach enhances, as usual, the day-to-day work relationship. That is structured approach to support the staff working in today complex healthcare environment, where talented people assemble to accomplish tasks, but may not come together exactly at the same way again. So it's important to make them as part of the team and to improve this one. This is number 4, which is establish, oversee, and communicate the system level aim. Establish system level aim beyond the benchmark. This is, I will take it very simple. Again, we shouldn't always talk about the benchmark. As a leader, you have to dream. You have really to think out of the let's say the target that you put it for yourself. So talk about it. The leaders, they have really to encourage their leaders not only to focus on the benchmark. Think about the national level, or actually the best practice, and then the international. Now, you are as a leader, you have to work on an achievable goal, put it for your staff, and then after this, put another challenge for them with your support. So you will keep people actually very motivated. You will keep their morale very high, and they feel we are in a healthcare. Actually, we want to be always motivated, because really we are really suffering from a very big challenge with our patient. This is not an easy job. Not everybody can be in the healthcare, whether nurse or doctors or ICU consultant. All of this is very really it's a tough job. And I give an example here for this is actually even published by the IHI. It's very simple, but it can really put this as in a clear process. For example, the VAB occurred, for example, in 15% of the patients receiving the mechanical ventilation. Then the IHI developed the VAB, which is the ventilator bundle, and after this they want actually to reduce this the ventilator infection. So the ventilator associated infection, so it reduced dramatically. Then in 2004, when the IHI actually promoted the 100,000th life or say campaign, they put again, they launched the prevention in hospital death. Though more than 3,000 hospitals, they are actually enrolled in this campaign, and about 67% are implementing the VAB. Then in 2006, in IHI, the second annual international summit, Don Perwick, the president and the CEO of the IHI, he reported that at least 26 of these hospitals achieved the zero VAB. So we were actually 15%, then we reduced it, then we reached the zero VAB in 26 hospitals. So just raise the bar for your staff and support them, so both people, they will go for high bar. We are, as a human being, we look for better actually for our staff and for ourselves. We are part of saving our patients. Then oversee and communicate system level aim. This is again, this is very important that we have like 7 steps the physician or the staff, they can adopt it. I will just go through it quickly. Establish the oversee specific system level at the highest governance level. This is very important to start from the top. Develop executable strategy. So please don't put the goals and objectives that's something they cannot achieve, and you don't give them the support to be executed. Channel the leadership attention to system level improvement, personnel, leadership and system. Put patient and families on the improvement team. Make the patient in your improvement team, and you can see how this will really impact on the improvement. Make the chief financial officer, because it's very critical for all of us, he or she, as a quality champion. Engage the physician and build the improvement capability. This is as simple for the system level aim. Again, this is one of the mechanism or tool that you can use it from the IHI. We go to step 5, which is track and measure performance over time, strength the analysis. Again, the analysis and the data, we are talking about it every time. So here it's regarding the measure the harm over time as a system level measure, the hospital mortality review. There is one of the approach introduced by IHI again, which is move the dot. This is introduced by Seth Brian German. He's a senior fellow in the IHI. Develop a statistical methodology to standardize the hospital mortality rate in order to compare them fairly and to understand what was, to make the proper analysis, to understand what was the reasons for the learning and preventing this one. So you can find the move your dot even in the IHI. You can just go for the details. They put it freely, and this is a software, I think, that you can participate even freely. The second is the global trigger tool, which includes even the medication error and adverse event. And this is, again, a process that you can put. There's a list of all non-adverse events with the triggers that can be used in the hospital to measure the number and the degree of harmful event. And then this tool provides instruction and forms for collecting the data needed to measure the adverse event. This is very, I think, simple and very interesting tool to be used and easy by the staff in the quality department or even in the hospital who's taking the lead. Okay. The last thing is the additional tools related to medication safety, which is introduced by ISMB. And this is, again, this is very important. It was introduced in 2004, I remember, and this is including all the process of the medication management, labeling and communication, storage, distribution, and standardization. So if you go to this can be very helpful. I think maybe we can really look at to the Move Your Dot. This is a very nice and simple software or tool that can be used, that you can put all the mortality and it will give you what could be the causes, because they have actually a database of after analysis of the mortality that addressed all the causes of the many causes actually of the mortality and what can be learned as a lesson to be prevented later on. So this is for this part. Improve the analysis of the RCA. We are all familiar with this analysis regarding the RCA, what happened and why, what can be done. And then again for FEMIA, especially when we design a new process, this is again, could be part of the education and the training of the people that the people included in the patient safety. And the last one is introduced by AHRQ, which is the patient safety indicators, that they have to identify the potential in hospital complication and adverse event following surgeries, procedures, and childbirth. So in this way, when we have all of them, we can work on them for improvement. So this could be the patient safety indicators. Definitely, we have a long list of this indicators that already coming even from the MOH. We have some from Sibahi, and we have some from the Patient Safety Center. So we have really to assess them, to assess these indicators and go beyond this one. What was the reason if you have the high level of, even if we achieve a good compliance, what was the reason to share this experience with others? The third part of this one is the strengthened incident reporting mechanism. I think, alhamdulillah, we here now in Saudi Arabia, by having now the program of Sawtak launched by the Saudi Patient Safety Center and the MOH. So everybody is now participating. This is important. And I know my colleague, they are working in how to communicate even the learned lessons. And this is what we need to have. It's not only just to report, but this is a start step at the country level. This is really a great step that we can be all proud of it, inshallah, and we will work on it. So we have to have the leadership support for this one. Action must be taken and feedback must be given to all employees about the action taken. If you do this, and I'm sure that if you do the feedback and you close this with your staff in the hospital or even with others, then this will strengthen the culture there and build the trust between you and between your staff, because they will know that you consider the error happened and you go beyond it. And it's the best thing, if you do an action, please communicate it with them. Please let them that we do so and so to prevent, for example, abduction from happening. We make the major change. Don't ever say that we fire Muhammad or Ahmed because he was the safety guard because we had something last week. This will lose your trust between you and your staff. So make sure you build it and you promote it more and more. Assigning appropriate accountability for errors, and I'm sure this will build again another culture and good culture. Step 6, support the staff and patient family impacted by the medical errors and harm. This is very interesting when we talk about our staff and patient and families, because those are the triangle in any patient care process, and especially when we have the medical error. So we have to have a strong patient safety program. This is, we have to adopt a mechanism to provide support to patient as well as the physician and staff involved in the medical error. Please make sure that all of them on the same level. Maybe it will be different at the time that when we will talk to the patient and when we talk to the staff, and don't ever to think immediately to punish the staff, to punish the staff in order to satisfy the patient. Recognize and disclose, as we mentioned, and apologize in the right time. Provide the patient and the families with the information about what happened and involve them with the decision or the action. Number 2 is to ensure the safety of staff. So please, if you want your staff to be committed for our patient, you have to make sure that you have to ensure the safety of your staff. And this should be practically, not theoretical, not messages, not something that is, for example, that every day we will just put it in our desktop or send the messages to everybody in the social media. No, you have to make sure that this is very practical. If I say that I don't have enough PPE as a nurse, you have to make sure that you provide it to me in order to make sure that I'm saving my patient. Don't ignore my needs as a patient, as a staff, in order to do my job. If you ignore me, I don't know how I'm going to deal with my patient. So this is a very clear example, is for example, provision of personal protective gear, needless system. This is very important when you think even about adopting the technology, how we save the patient and how we save the staff. Not only save the staff physically, but to save staff from the error could happen to the patient. Number 7, it's again, number 7, it's to align the system-wide activities and incentives. As I mentioned before, that one of the most important is to make the alignment between the strategic plan, the quality plan, financial plan, all it has to be in one line, and to make sure that the resources actually is really supporting all of the other plans in order to achieve the patient safety and the strategic goal. Ensure the daily work of the employee is organized to support deployment of strategies and improvement projects. How you can do this? If you involve them in developing the strategic plan and developing the quality plan. If you explain to them why we are doing this one, so they will be committed. As they said, if there is no involvement, no commitment. Then implement, monitor, revise the strategy as needed if the desired change are not occurring. So there is nothing, ما في حاجة Quran. There is nothing is Quran. Everything can be changed, and as I mentioned before, it's the only constant. If something doesn't work, rethink about it, think it, and then analyze it, and then see how you can make the redesign. Consider aligning of the organization strategy measures and improvement with the major national initiative. And I think, alhamdulillah, we reach at this stage and these days that we are actually that we make all the alignments between all the efforts on the national effort, on the national events. I can see one of the comments from my colleague Maryland. Yes, patient staff come first, because if they are safe, I'm sure, and they know and they trust their leaders that they ensure their safety, they will be more safe and caring for their staff, for their patient. Definitely, I agree with you, and I'm sure that all my colleagues for this one is very important for the safety of the staff. Alignment of incentives, as I mentioned before, and we shared that the safety and the quality should be incorporated into organizational strategy plan, and they should also be incorporated into compensation plan for organization leaders and employees. So put the patient safety achievement or level, it's part of the criteria that you do the compensation for your staff and for the leaders. Incentives that reward all levels of performance between baseline and specified goal are effective at engaging organization staff and promoting improvement. Definitely, this is very important, and definitely this will help and build the positive safety culture. We come to the 8, which is the last one. I hope that we can finish before 10. I know it's very long. It's redesign the system and improve the reliability. We always talk about the high reliability organization, and we learned this again from a lot of other industry, and this very simple in our hospital that we learned even from the engineering. In engineering, it's very clear that the capability of the parts and components, equipment that can, for the desired period of time without failure. The same as when we talk about the aviation. So they have this is very clearly. In our hospital, it's very clear again to consider all the principle for safer design. So you remove redundancy, understanding the interactions of people and equipment, make the right thing as easy thing. So this is simple and easy, standardized to use to reduce the variation, enhance the teamwork, and trust the staff, design tasks around the people's strength and professional skills. This is very important for the reliability. Okay, for 15 minutes. I hope they will be with us for more 15 minutes. This is the traditional, actually the shape, or actually the high reliability. How can we build it in our hospital? I'm not going to go to the details for this one because I think many approach in our hospital we have it. The second interesting one is the rapid response team. Now, the rapid response team, it's part of the initiative that's done to catch actually the harm that could reach the patient, and it was even introduced for the reason that we can catch the patient before they start terrible downward spiral. So we want to make sure that the patient will not reach a very deteriorated stage. That's why we have the rapid response team, and it really improve a lot of this for the patient safety. And I hope one day that we can share this information or experience from our hospital, how the our team actually is really doing in our hospital. It's a team of clinicians and other expertise, significantly to reduce the rate of mortality and cardiac arrest. Then the third thing is introduce the simulation. Definitely, we learned this simulation technique from the aviation. They are the best who started this one. So we are talking about this in a very simple thing. The simulation is very important, and I know most of our respected, valuable nurses, they use it as part of their training and continuous education. So we need to do this even for the patient safety process. Sometimes it will give the team actually how is the situation and what could be the barriers or what could be the challenges that during this process. And this is even could be part in a pilot study that we are doing. Simulation, you can start it in a very simple way, like for example, even simulation of the patient journey from the ICU, from the OR to the ICU, even to the discharge. And this will help you to know exactly where is the challenges that you can work on it. You can recognize even where we can enforce the corrective measures, such as equipping the organization employees with the right seminars and training that will enhance their capabilities, recognize the flaws or error in the healthcare system response that place the patient's condition at risk or the harm's way. Simulation that I said it can be simply. Now it comes to the number 4, which implementation of the computerized physician order entry system. Now we have many hospitals who already have now the COPE, which is very important because we know that this data, I don't know how much it's updated, but I can share it with you that the most common type of the medical error related to the medication is 40% it's caused by cognitive mistakes of prescribing physician, 25 it's for illegible handwriting or ambiguous abbreviation, and lack of knowledge on part of ordering clinician. I know we have some pharmacists that can update this one. So if we really go for this COPE, it can really reduce the harm very much, to reduce a lot of things that can really harm the patient, make all the medication management team in one streamlined process that they can be acting as like a quality control or safety gatekeeper for each others in order not to extend the problem or to extend the harm to the patient. Again, it's really expensive, but if we again consider or make the balance between the patient care and the patient safety and the finance issue or the cost, we will find that really it will prevent and protect the patient from harm to the value that really it values actually the cost or the expense of this system. Now we finished the 8 steps, and I think we have more 10 minutes, and I hope that this can give you a detailed, simple process. I put all the references at the end so that you can use it and you will have more details about this one. Now we come to the 5th part, which is how to develop your leadership and patient safety skills. I put it in a very summary, and by the way, this is from my own reading and my own experience. I put listen hard. Listen a hard slog, especially for, I put a question mark and you can define to whom. This is very important, please, to listen to your staff and to make sure that the leaders actually hold the view what it could happen here, it couldn't happen here. Many leaders, they have the confidence that when they have the error, they would say, no, this could never happen in our hospital. Please, just delete this one. If you put it in your agenda, just make sure that you delete it before we finish this presentation. It could happen anywhere. You can't imagine from where that the error could come. So you make sure that we are, that actually you listen, and to make sure that you need to listen to them. Act as a real model to reflect the organization value, get the proper education and training. You are as a healthcare professional, you are not a manager, or actually you have to have a skills that is administrative skills. You need to to learn it and to get it, for example, the financial management, the strategic plan development, and to know more about the quality and the patient safety. Be ready to celebrate the success and willing to comfort challenges as well. Be approachable and visible. Please don't close your door. Don't make yourself that is something that we cannot even reach it. You are a celebrity, but please make sure you are available for your staff. Listen to them. And this is maybe a very detailed steps that I'm not going to go through it because I want to really go to what's next. What's next? This is what we have really to believe. As we mentioned from the beginning, that we put your goal is to prevent the harm to patient, not to eliminate the error. The error will continue, but you have to make sure that we are designing our process. We are working to prevent the error and to reduce and prevent the harm to reach the patient or staff. And you can have a preventable approach to let the frontline can buy in. Then adapt the system approach to have sustainability and to adopt the trust, which is the foundation of the patient safety culture. Trust is the key word. It's really the key word between you as a leader in whatever level you are and between your staff and team. Then please recognize the error, prevent it and mitigate it. As much as we are going, we learn. Just put in your mind that we learn. Now, the last thing is regarding we are moving from old world to new world. I will just go through it very quickly, this one, which is the last slide. No, the slide before the end. It's actually, we are in a very high complex and vast change in our healthcare system. The learning has a short shelf life, so we need to keep ourselves always updated. Knowledge is scattered. No individual can pretend to know. So please don't say that, no, I know everything. In our hospital, I have my education in so and so. No, everything could happen at anywhere, regardless of the level of sophistication of the system or the level that. And innovation is the rule. Make everybody actually is really dream, and you dream with them and you support them. And the last slide is the one from Coase and Posner. Is the leadership is a performing art and collection of practices and behavior rather than position. So it doesn't mean if you and myself, we are on the top of the hierarchy, we are the best leader. No, this is maybe because of the administrative career path, but we are leaders because if we really have these skills, if we trust our staff, if we work for the safety of our patient and our staff first and make the patient as part of the care team, I'm sure that we will have, inshallah, a good positive culture, learning from the error, and inshallah reach to prevent the harm from our patient. Thank you very much for your time, and I want to just tell you that all the references are there. I can't thank you much actually for the time that I read a lot of things in order to give you this very humble and simple presentation. Now, do we still have time for? Okay, we have still you can go for the Q&A for the question. So I can just put it. I start with the first one. The new MOH suggested law has an item states that every order done by a practitioner and results in harm to the patient require compensation by practitioner. Doesn't this law against the principle of the patient safety, and what's the rule as the staff leader in dealing with punitive culture? Okay, and I don't have the direct answer for this one, but I can answer in one way. We have الشرع أو يعني في عندنا اللي هو التحقيق الشرعي أو اللي هي the court investigation that obliged by not only by the culture, this is by law, but definitely there is a detail of the process that can really clarify why this happened. And I know that now that part of those this court actually there is a medical advisor. They listen to them, not only advisor. I think they are a team. They are coming to the court, and the sheikh or the judge actually he listened to them and they explain to him. So I think it will not be like a direct punishment or the compensation, but after they listen, understanding exactly if there is any negligence happened. Then incorporate the second is incorporate patient, family, relative to cross-functional team for long-term cases only. Yeah, but even I can just tell you that even from the beginning, not only the long term, if the patient admitted, not necessary to give the patient family like a long education, but they have to know what happened to their patient. The patient has to know again, and even with the discharge, they need to know how they deal with them. And I will ask you one thing: how many of us as a patient family, you will go to the hospital with your family and you will seek the help of the patient, the doctor or the physician, to understand exactly what happened and what will happen and what could be actually the alternative, what will be the side effect of the medication, and what could be the complications happened after the surgery. If we are as a healthcare, because alhamdulillah, yani God give us this opportunity to learn actually the risk that could happen to our family. So consider that every patient family, they have the right to know about exactly their family members, and they will not be surprised later on. For sharing the slide, definitely it will be given from the Saudi Patient Safety Center. What is your advice to encourage leaders to engage patient and families in improvement project, patient safety walkarounds? I can suggest it simply, because this is even part of my practice, that in the beginning, put one of the patient family or patient to be part of the patient and family rights committee, if you have it, or the ethics committee, so they can help you in giving you the idea. You can just make part of the discussion when you have like a big improvement project. You can let them to participate. There are many things that we can even brainstorming to have it. But I'm sure that we have many families, we have many hospitals, they already adopt this mechanism. Can you send us the material? Yes, definitely it will be sent to you. Is there a relationship between the health practitioner safety and the patient safety? Definitely there is a very strong it's a strong relationship between both of them. As I mentioned before, that the safety of the staff, it will lead to the safety of the patient. Definitely, this is a very clear equation, dear. What biomedical engineer plays role in patient safety? It is really very critical and important. And by the way, there is a royal decree now is regarding the calibration of the medical equipment in the critical units, so critical care units. So you can just understand it from this one, and you can go to the SFDA. They have a lot of protocols regarding now the biomedical engineer rules and regulation that will lead to the patient safety. And as I told you, there is actually a royal decree coming, and it will be addressed, by the way, in the 4th edition of Sibahi standards about this one. So the SFDA, they can help you with a lot of details about this one. The next question: what is the role? Okay, we said it. Do we still have things here? Yeah. Check. Chat. Okay. I think we come to the end. Thank you very much. Again, I have to thank really the Saudi Patient Safety Center for this opportunity, and please let me to thank my wonderful assistant, Ms. Noona, and our technical intelligent Mr. Tariq bin Hamid for helping us actually to have this wonderful time with you. The last question, actually, if there is no leadership commitment, what could be the role of the PSO? Yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. Well, I'm talking about when we have the PSO, it has to be reported and supported by the leadership. So if we have him without the leadership commitment, that's why we have this presentation today, to build the leaders and to change the mindset. So please, the leader that is really not supporting the PSO, please go and change change actually the approach to your staff and to your patient. And I'm sure, inshallah, this will really impact on our patient safety and impact on our actually legacy as a healthcare provider. I think maybe I answered all the questions. I have it in the Q&A and in the chat. And thank you very much again for your time. I really appreciate your interactive communication with me. And I think you already have all my name and my email. I'm very good communicator through the email. So really looking forward for your communication, and looking forward to have another great opportunity from the Patient Safety Center or from any other opportunity to meet with you, hopefully to meet with you physically, inshallah, maybe in Sibahi, Patient Safety, or any conference. It's an honor really to be with you today. Thank you very much for Patient Safety Center, and for you, my colleagues. I appreciate your time. Alhamdulillah.